Hi, my name is Gautam Thapar. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Enlighten AI and also a former teacher and school leader. So I'm excited to share our tools with you. At Enlighten AI, we're helping teachers to make grading, feedback, and data-driven instruction efficient, effective, and seamless. So we have 3 tools that help you do that. The first is an AI grading assistant that's personalized. It actually learns and adapts as you grade, just like a teacher's assistant would, so it can help you to be most efficient and most effective. The second is an AI feedback assistant that is able to provide on-demand immediate feedback to students. You give the AI assistant instructions, and when students log into Enlighten AI and submit their work, they can on-demand access feedback so that they can revise and resubmit their work over a designated number of attempts. And the final tool, regardless of which path you choose, is a data-driven instruction tool so that you can implement insights from the data and the feedback that you've given and turn them into actionable resources on the spot using our suite of AI tools like lesson plan making, multiple choice quiz generation, and other reteaching resources. Let's get started. I'm excited to share all of this with you. And before we go too far, I do want to point you to some resources on the right-hand side of your home screen where you can access more detail on any of these features. So as we go through this overview, we won't be able to cover everything in full depth, but if you want to see more, you can go to our video tutorials in our YouTube page and double click into any feature that you'd like to learn more about. Let's get started. On our home screen, we have our courses. And the first thing that we'll need to do is to roster our students so that we can grade their work in Enlighten AI. There's 2 ways to do this, and I've set up courses for each of them. One is to set up your courses directly in Enlighten AI, regardless of what learning management system you use. So here, ELA Period 2 is an Enlighten AI created course. And I can roster students by simply clicking the 3 dots and either sharing a course code with them so that when they log into Enlighten AI, they're able to access the course, or by directly sharing an invitation link that will take them directly to that registration page. It is really, really easy to roster students. The next way that I can roster students is if I'm a Google Classroom user by syncing my Google classes. Then my rosters from Google Classroom will be imported, as will any work that students submit on a Google Doc directly in Google Classroom. That will be gradable here, and I'll also be able to pass back the feedback directly through Google Classroom. Regardless of which version you choose, your assignment setup and grading is going to look very similar. So let's go ahead and check out that grading assistant using one such assignment. I'll go to Humanities Period 2 here. I'll find an assignment called Demo Assignment, which was a paragraph that students at my former school wrote on the Stanford Prison Experiment and whether it showed that people are inherently bad. Here we have submission statuses for all students in this fictional test course. The first thing that I'm going to need to do in order to grade their work is to choose a rubric and set up the grading criteria. So I'll go here and I have many options to set up a rubric. I can reuse quickly any of the old rubrics that I have used in the past, which for me is quite a few. I can also share and receive rubrics from colleagues using the share feature. I can access featured templates for courses like AP courses or the SAT or ACT, common templates that we use for state exams and the like. I can access rubrics that have been shared by all teachers, or of course I can create rubrics and share rubrics to that library. Creating a rubric has never been easier. I can see what an exemplar rubric looks like in the advanced view. I can upload a rubric via PDF file or by copying and pasting and dumping text directly from my file in. Or I can AI generate a rubric by simply inputting a few details about my task and assignment and having the AI do the work of figuring out what it is the criteria and point values should be for that task. For the sake of efficiency, I'm going to go ahead and use a rubric that I've used in the past and that I used a lot when I was a teacher, the Claim, Evidence, and Reasoning rubric. When I click this, I'm going to be prompted to put in some custom instructions. These are not required, but they really help your AI assistant, just like they would help a teacher's assistant, to know about the context of your assignment. So the grade level, the number of paragraphs that students should have written, the prompt that was given to students, any text that they were using. An exemplar response would be great so that there's a standard for success, as well as any other instructions, like structuring the feedback as glows and grows, or focusing in on spelling and grammar usage. Whatever it is that fits the context of your classroom, it can be placed here. I'm going to leave it just with these top fields input and go ahead and save and continue. And now, just like that, we're ready to grade. As we start grading, we're going to see the AI already getting hard at work, trying to take a stab at what it believes the scores and feedback ought to be for this first student submission. So we have Bella Brave, a fictional student. We have Bella Brave's student submission work. And now, just like that, the AI has produced scores and feedback based on its understanding so far. And that is very limited. The AI is 0% trained, and so it still needs some context from us to understand our expectations. I can change any of these scores with a simple click, and I can also change this feedback to my liking. Now, we don't have time to delve deeply into the exact feedback for each submission in depth, but we can see very quickly that the AI assistant is going to learn and adapt to our feedback. So I'm just going to put a simple comment here to demonstrate that. I'm going to put PS, remember to include your word count. Now, we will know as we go to the next student and the next one after that, if the AI is learning to apply this expectation of including a word count to students who have not actually provided that word count. So let's go ahead and save and continue. We're on a new submission now, Jacob Jester. We have the submission text, we have the AI's feedback, and in a moment, we'll have the scores. Now we can adjust these scores, just as I will. And it hasn't quite gotten to the place, just 20% trained, where it's putting the feedback that we're looking for. So let's go ahead and put it again. And of course, this could be feedback for the thesis, the evidence, the reasoning, but this is just to demonstrate the AI's learning. And there we have it. It's only 40% trained, but with just a couple of examples, it's already learned that we are looking to apply and put a word count for students who don't have it, and it started to give that feedback. If I continue to emphasize that point, it is going to continue to make sure that that's part of the feedback that's given. Now, we don't have time to grade every single submission, so let's go ahead and go back to our home screen and pretend that we have and see what we can do from there. So go back to Humanities 9. I'm going to go to graded assignments, and let's go to this assignment on the 8th grade SBAC persuasive essay on pennies. So this is the screen that I would have arrived at if I graded all of my students. This was a different rubric with ideas and analysis, development and support. It's based on the SBAC exam, if you're familiar with that. Now, at the end of this grading, what would be ideal is if I could take all of this, plug it into a spreadsheet, analyze the data, look for trends in the feedback, collect some sample submissions, and figure out exactly what the right thing to start class with tomorrow is so I can close learning gaps. That's a really tough thing to do on a day in, day out basis like the best practices call for. We can have AI help us with this now. So if I click Reteaching Worksheet, the AI is actually going to do exactly that. It's going to look at the numerical performance of students. It's going to look at sample work from students. It's going to look at the highest leverage area of growth for each individual student. And then it's going to figure out what is the best reteaching push for students to start the next class. And it's going to actually take the first stab at generating that resource. So here, it's identified that the highest leverage reteaching objective is to focus on improving language use, specifically the skill of proofreading for grammatical accuracy. So it has a deliberate practice objective, and it's actually created some practice problems, some sentence revisions that seem to reflect what students struggled with. So this is excellent. I could start class with this tomorrow, and I can, of course, wordsmith this, make sure that it fits my classroom. And if I wanted to develop this resource and make it even more robust, I can turn it into a lesson plan, add text very easily. So right here in the middle of the document, I can apply this Create Anything tool. I can give the AI instructions to develop a lesson plan, a multiple choice quiz, whatever it is that I need. But we also have education-specific tools here. So I could build with a lesson plan builder or a text generator or an exemplar creator or a worksheet creator. I can use any of these tools to add to and make this more robust. And soon you'll be able to export this using Google Docs or Google Forms. Now, let's imagine that I had given that previous assignment, but it wasn't a high stakes assessment that I was going to grade. It was the kind of assessment that I used to give as an exit ticket and often struggle to grade because you're trying to give one every day. For that type of assignment, I might actually not grade it the way that I showed you. I might instead set it up as an immediate AI feedback assignment. So let's go ahead and see how that would work. I'll create the assignment. I'll go to immediate AI feedback, call it Stanford Prison Experiment. It was about a paragraph. I'll give students 3 tries on it. I'll assign it to a class. I'll use that same claim evidence and reasoning rubric. Now I'll give my AI assistant some context. So the question or the prompt for students was, did the Stanford prison experiment show that people are inherently bad? Heavy question, I know. I could generate a reference text if I had one, or paste it in. I can generate an exemplar response, or I could paste one in. And let's give some instructions to the AI assistant on how to give feedback, because this is immediate feedback. I want it to be pretty concise. So let's say be concise, use grade level language for 8th grade, give one glow, one grow, and one question to help students improve their response. Great. Let's preview this as a student. This is what students would see: the question, the rubric, the feedback, and space to input their response. So let's put a sample response and give this a swirl. So Stanford prison experiment showed that people are inherently bad because they behaved cruelly. Not a word, but we'll see how the AI responds. The prisoners and guards were in conflict and did not get along. Obviously, this should not earn full marks. So we're going to go ahead and submit for feedback. I like that the AI is saying that it appreciates the effort. And cruelly, it's corrected my spelling subtly. Prisoners and guards were in conflict and didn't get along. I like these questions. How did they behave cruelly? What specific conflicts? And it's asking me to push for specific evidence. So the claim was actually quite strong, but the evidence and reasoning were pretty minimal. I like this. Now the student would have 3 tries, so they'd be starting with this text and then they'd be revising it and improving it with 2 more tries to get it right with the AI's feedback. So this is fantastic. I would be able to use this. Let's go back to the assignment. We'll publish it. We'll get a share link, and I can send it through whatever learning management system I'm using, whether Google Classroom or otherwise. And when students log in to Enlighten AI, they'll be able to see that assignment and submit right on the spot. With that, you have a brief tour, a quick one, of all of the different tools that we have in Enlighten AI. But again, I'd encourage you to explore more using our video tutorials, or get in touch with us using the chat feature, or by emailing us at info@enlightenme.ai or gotham@enlightenme.ai. Looking forward to working with you and supporting you, and to getting your feedback on our tools. Thank you.